What's up y'all, and welcome back to my channel. I've got some new makeup sitting here in front of me to test out and try on. I'm really excited about it. I have the new color correctors and concealers from Tarte. We've got the new mini rose palette from Natasha Denona. This is absolutely gorgeous. We've got some L'Oreal, we've got some Maybelline. I have a smattering of other products that I'm still in the midst of testing out. So I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to sit down with y'all and do a good old-fashioned get ready with me, see if any of these products are any good, give you some updated thoughts on other products, and just do our makeup together. So I will have all these products listed and linked down below in the description box per usual. If you're ever curious about anything that I use in any of my videos on my channel, always check the description box. I squeeze as much information as I possibly can into that tiny little space. But without further ado, let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit, get my hair out of my face, and get ready together. All right, so we're zoomed in, my hair is out of my face. I have already gone ahead and primed my skin. I went in with my Gucci mattifying primer. I really love this one in the summer because it is mattifying, but it's very lightweight. If you have super oily skin, I don't think this is going to be the one for you. But if you're like me and you have normal to dry skin, maybe even combination, and you just want to battle that summer heat, this is a really good one. But let's go ahead and jump into foundation. So I'm going to go in with my e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation. This is not a new one, but I did pick up a new shade. The other one that I picked up was just a smidge too dark, so we're gonna try this one out. This is in the shade 10 Fair Cool, and I love this foundation. This was ranked number 2 in my best foundations of 2024 so far, so I'm really excited to have something that's going to be a better shade match for me. Also, if you are new here, welcome. Hello, I am 39 years old. I live in Houston, Texas. It's very hot and humid down here. Our summers get scorching, sweltering, like they can get really unbearable. Our temperatures get up there, but I have a normal skin type. I don't lean very oily, I don't lean very dry. My skin stays on a pretty even keel throughout the year. It kind of fluctuates a little bit with the seasons, but not enough to really compensate for it. And as far as foundation goes, I prefer a light to medium coverage with something that has more of a natural finish to it. I don't mind being a little glowy, but I'm definitely not the matte type person. All right, so foundation is on, and I definitely think this is a better shade match for me, but it's probably just a smidgen too light for me. It'll be fine once I get bronzer and blush on, but I think since I have the darker shade in this, I'll probably mix the two together so I can hopefully get my perfect shade. I'm not the type of person to go out and buy another foundation to mix them together. I'd rather manipulate it with mix-ins and bronzing drops, but since I have it, might as well utilize it. But let's go ahead and move on to concealer. So I actually picked up 2 of the new Tarte Creaseless Color Correctors. I picked up the shade Peachy Pink and Green. I thought this one would be good under my eyes to combat a little bit of that darkness that I have. I don't have a whole lot, but as I'm getting older, it is starting to show up. And then the green one I picked up because I have a lot of redness in my skin, and I thought it would kind of camouflage that whenever I go in with a skin tint, something with a lighter coverage. But today I think we're going to test this out on this little beast over here. This is a pimple that's hanging out from when we didn't have power and I was kind of ignoring and abusing my skin a little bit. So we're going to try this on top of that, see how it works. I also picked up their new Creaseless Creamy Concealer as well, but let's go ahead and start with this green color corrector. So first of all, look at that applicator. It's like a little brush tip applicator. Very interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm hoping that the concealer is not the same way, but let's go ahead and put this on right here and see what it does. I haven't had to do anything like this in a really long time. My skin doesn't normally break out, but you know, if you're ignoring it, it's going to absolutely act out. It's like a toddler. So I'm just going to kind of pat that in and let it dry down a little bit, and then we'll go back over it with concealer and see if it camouflages it. But let's do this Peachy Pink color corrector. This is the one that I'm curious about. I really do enjoy a color corrector, but usually they're too dark for me and they do more harm than good, I guess. They don't really camouflage as much as I want. So again, same little applicator, and I'm just going to put a little bit right here, not a whole lot. I have a feeling less is probably going to be more. And then I'm going to blend this out with some sort of concealer brush. Here's one right here. This is a Smashbox concealer brush. This does feel very thin. It feels very creamy, lightweight. It feels cooling and hydrating. And see, I just think that's a little too dark for me. I feel like I need something lighter and I can't find one. All right, so it definitely took away some of that darkness under there. I do think it's a little bit too dark for me, but once I get concealer on over it, it'll be fine. I want something more like the Cali Ray Hideaway that I've been enjoying. If you've been here, you know I absolutely love that. That one is a color corrector, but it's also a concealer in one, and I can use that on its own. I don't need to put another concealer on over top of it because of the shade of it, but I don't think this is horrible. I've tried worse. So let's go ahead and go in with the concealer over top of it. This is the Tarte Creaseless Creamy Concealer. I picked up the shade 12 in Fair Neutral. They either didn't have the shade that matched my skin tone, or this was the lightest one that they have. I can't remember. Let me look. There was a reason I picked this one up. That's what it was. All of the light ones had a neutral undertone. By the time you got to a pinky undertone, it looked like it was going to be too dark for me. So this will be okay. I can get away with a neutral concealer under my eyes. I prefer something with a little bit more of a pinky undertone, but this should be fine. So we do get a doe foot applicator with this one. I absolutely love it. Let's try this on. This has not completely dried down. It doesn't feel wet. It doesn't feel like it did when I first put it on, but it also doesn't feel like it dried down 100%. But let's do just a little bit right here in the outer corner and see what this is gonna do. I'm gonna put a little bit right here as well. All right, so I'm going back in with that same brush, and we're just gonna blend this in. This does feel very lightweight. It feels like it's the same consistency and the same formula as that color corrector, just in more of like a concealer, like natural skin color tone. All right, so I like the way this is sitting under my eyes. I like the way that it looks. It definitely meshed well with that color corrector, and honestly, I think that color corrector kind of made the shade of the concealer perfect for my skin tone. I'll have to try it out without the color corrector. I meant to, and I got a little color corrector happy, but this is giving me like medium to full coverage vibes. The website says it's a full coverage concealer, but I think it's more of a medium buildable coverage. So I think you could absolutely get a full coverage, but I'm also liking that I can kind of sheer it out to give me a more medium coverage as well. But let's go ahead and kind of like blot around this little guy right here. I'm not going over the top of the breakout. I'm just going around it to make sure that everything blends in seamlessly. I don't want to disturb the color corrector and the concealer, but I think that did a really good job. Like obviously you can still see the little bump there, but the redness is gone and it looks like it blends in with my skin a little bit better. We like that. All right, so let's throw a little bit of liquid bronzer onto the skin, give me a little bit of color. I'm just gonna go in with the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Bronzing and Shaping Serum. This is in the shade Light. I absolutely love this product. It is so, so good. I've already reviewed it, but I just wanna give myself a little bit of color back into my skin. I also have a liquid blush that we're gonna try out, and I like to do bronzer before blush, so I thought we'd just go ahead and pull this one out. So for blush, I picked up one of the new Maybelline Sun Kisser liquid blushes. This is in the shade 05 Blazing Blush. It's this really pretty bubblegum pink shade that we've been seeing a lot of lately. It does have a really pretty sheen to it. It's not going to have like glitter or shimmer in it, but it's not going to be a flat matte either. I thought this color would go really pretty with the Natasha Denona Mini Rose palette. So we're going to try this on. I'm going to put it on before I put on powder, and then we're going to reiterate it afterwards on top of the powder as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and dot a little bit of this on right here. I don't think these are going to be super pigmented. I could be wrong though. And I'm just going to go in with a Sigma F08 brush. This is their precision powder brush. I really like this for blushes, especially liquids. I like the shape of it. Okay. I definitely see that sheen. I see the shine, but where's the color? Like the color's gone. Let's pick up what I have on the back of my hand. Okay, so these are buildable. These are going to be really buildable. I'm starting to see a little bit of that color. My only worry is the more I put on of this, is it going to start to move the product underneath, because this is a very liquidy formula. It's not super thick. It's not a super thin formula either. It doesn't feel like water or a skin tint, but it's so liquidy. I worry about that, but we're just going to keep on trucking forward. All right, so I was able to build this up to a nice, really pretty flush of color. It's not the most pigmented. It's not super opaque. It does have that really pretty sheen to it. And surprisingly, it didn't lift any of the product underneath. And my cheeks don't feel like sticky. They don't feel like everything's gonna grab to them. So far I like it. I like the way that it went on, but I'm curious to know if all of the shades are lightly pigmented like this, or if it's something kind of like the e.l.f. blushes where the lighter shades have less pigmentation and the darker ones have more. So I'm gonna have to pick up a darker shade and let y'all know. I apologize for Brody barking in the background. I think somebody just came to the door and he's losing it out there. But let's go ahead and powder the face, and then we can try putting this on over top of powder as well. So I'm gonna go in with the Polite Society More Than a Pretty powder. I have already tested this. I've really been enjoying it. This is such a beautiful powder. It is so finely milled, and it doesn't make me feel super matte. Like, it looks matte when I first put it on, but maybe 20 minutes later it kind of sinks into the skin and it looks more natural. But before we do that, I forgot, I'm going to go ahead and set my under eyes with my Huda Beauty Easy Bake and Snatch powder. I just like to use a pink powder under my eyes, especially whenever I have a pink cheek or a neutral concealer. It just kind of brings a little bit of that color back, and I personally really enjoy this for under my eyes. I know it got very mixed responses, but I like the little bit of sheen that it has to it. Okay, so I'm just gonna put some of the powder in the lid. I have the shade Universal Translucent, and I said in my first video where I tried this on, I was wondering if the packaging matched the shade of the powder, and it does, which I absolutely love. I think that's super cute, especially if you have more than one shade in your collection. You can see what color you're grabbing without having to open it up, flip it over, anything like that. You can just reach into your drawer and grab it. But look at how beautiful that looks on the skin. I don't really need a powder with this, but it's hot outside and my makeup's gonna go everywhere if I don't set it with a powder. All right, before we try the blush over a powdered face, I wanna go in with my Unearthly High Temp Bronzer. This is in the shade Fair. I absolutely love this bronzer. I was so scared to even try this. I wanted to because it's something different from the brand. I do really enjoy the brand, but this is super glowy in the pan, and it looks like it's gonna be really dark. It looks like it's gonna be really red. Let me show you a swatch of it in case you've missed it in a previous video, but look at that. It looks like a bronze highlighter, but once you put it on the skin, it shears out really nicely and it just leaves this beautiful glow. Like, this is a beautiful bronzer. It's a new one that I'm really enjoying. I want to play with every time I do my makeup, and it just looks so good on my skin. It's very flattering. Let's try some more of this blush. Do I need more? Absolutely not, but we're gonna try it anyway. So I'm gonna put it on the back of my hand and then just pick it up from there. I don't like to go directly onto a powdered face with a liquid product or with a cream product. I don't mind it if my face isn't powdered, but I feel like I have more control this way, and I feel like my chances of it lifting are going to be a lot smaller. So that's definitely building up color. It's going on really nicely. Let's see if it lifted anything. It doesn't seem to have lifted anything, so that's really nice. Yeah, this is really pretty. Okay, this is a nice formula. So far, I'm really enjoying it. For highlighter, I picked up this new one from L'Oreal. This is from their Infallible line. I really do enjoy their Infallible line. Their Infallible foundation is one of my absolute favorite drugstore foundations to ever exist. But this is the Infallible 24-hour Fresh Wear Highlighter Illuminator. I picked up the shade Icy Gold. So let's do a swatch of this really quick, see what it's gonna look like. And yeah, we're gonna swatch it right there. Oh, that's really pretty. You can definitely see that gold reflect to it, but it also looks like it has a really nice translucent base, or at least a really light one. I think it's gonna work for a lot of different skin tones, but they only had 2 different shades, so I just went with the lightest one naturally. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick this up with a highlighter brush. This is just one from Unearthly, and we're gonna see what this looks like on the cheek. I already have that little bit of glow there, but ooh, that is so pretty. Oh my gosh, that is gorgeous. I love this. First impression right out the gate, absolutely beautiful. That is a blinding highlight. It's melting into the skin. It doesn't have like glitter particles or anything like that. It's just a good shimmer, and when I look straight ahead, you can't see it on my cheek. So that makes me super, super happy. All right, so let's go ahead and do brows really quick. I did pick up a new brow pencil. This one is from NYX. This is their Powder Louder Brow Pencil. I have the shade Ash Brown. I have used this a couple of times already, and I do really enjoy it. So on one end, you have this cute little spoolie, and then on the other end, you have the actual pencil. And this is a really nice one. This is not a super waxy pencil. It's more of exactly like it says, a powder and a pencil form. And I really like that. I do like a little bit of hold to my brows, but if I'm filling them in with a pencil, I like something that has more of a powder glide to it, more of a powder finish to it. And I think this one's really nice. I'm able to go in a little bit lighter. It's not going to be super harsh, and I feel like it's a little bit easier to manipulate. Brows are on, eyes are primed, and I even threw on a lip combo as well. And for that lip combo, I lined my lips with a Lawless Definer Liner. This is in the shade Pink Sand. I really enjoy this formula. It's a good one, but honestly, it doesn't take much to impress me with a lip liner. As long as it's not super stiff or super creamy, I'm a happy camper. And this one is right in that middle of the road formula. And then over top, I went in with one of the new Lancome Idole Butter Glow Lip Balms. This is in the shade 36. I believe it's called Nude Now. This is along the lines of all the other ones that we've seen coming out, YSL, Makeup by Mario, Tarte, all of them. But this one has a thinner consistency. It's more lightweight on the lips. It is very hydrating. It has a good glow to it. It doesn't really dry down and last all day, but I do feel like there's a little wash of color that remains on your lips when it does wear off. And my favorite part is this is a twist up. It doesn't click, so you don't have to worry about wasting product. You don't have to worry about clicking it with your thumb. Those really annoy me. As much as I love the formulas, I can't stand the clickiness. But let's go ahead and move on to eyes. So I did pick up the new Natasha Denona Mini Rose palette. I thought this was absolutely beautiful. I love the Natasha Denona mini palettes. I love her formula, and these are just so cute. I have several of them. I don't have all of them, but I do really enjoy them. Now, I do know that these are all repeat shades. These are not new. They are new formulas from what I understand. I've seen some people do a deep dive on this palette. I'm not super familiar with the OG Natasha Denona palette, so I'm not your girl for that. But I do know that 3 of the shades in this palette did come from the retro palette, the one that's like more pinks and purples. And then the other 2 came from her OG larger palettes, like the blue brown palette, I believe is what it's called, or is it green brown? I can't remember. And then there's one that has like the purple. They're the white ones that were like $200 back in the day. So if you don't have any of those palettes, these are going to be new shades for you. But if you have those, especially the retro, you can skip out on this one. But I'm excited about it. We're gonna create a look. So kind of what I'm thinking is we're gonna do this in the crease, outer corner, deepen it up. We'll probably do a combination of these two on the lower lash line. And then I'm gonna do these two right here on the lid and on the inner corner. So let's go ahead and jump into this. I'm gonna start with a Rephr 16 brush, and I'm gonna go into this first shade right here. This is actually a really, really soft, like petal pink. It almost looks white on camera, but it does have a pinky tone to it. So I'm just gonna pick this up and fluff it into my crease. And while I'm doing this eye look, I kind of wanted to share something with y'all. I have a new journey that I'm starting, and y'all will 100% notice it if you haven't already, but I had decided to grow out my hair color. I'm excited, but I'm nervous at the same time. I've been coloring my hair since I was 14 years old. I'm 39, so that means for 25 years I have been coloring my hair. I got gray very early. It runs in my family. Even my boys have a couple of gray hairs, so premature gray runs in my family, and I'm just kind of sick of it. I've done it for so long, and because of the career that I was in, I did hair for a very long time. I'm no longer a hairdresser, but I did hair for many, many years. And because of that, I had to really stay on top of coloring my hair. I usually did it like every 3 to 4 weeks. Next, I'm going to go in with a Rephr 15 brush, and I'm going to go into this lighter pink shade over here, and I'm just going to start to build up that outer corner and a little bit more into my crease. But like I was saying, I colored my hair every 3 to 4 weeks because if you're going to do hair, you have to look the part, and my hair grows super fast. I am very gray. I'm sure you've seen it. Like, I have a lot of gray hair, and it's really hard to stay on top of. Now, I have continued to do it myself since I quit doing hair, and I could 100% keep doing that. I could go to somebody, my best friend is a hairdresser as well, but I'm just sick of it. I'm really tired of having to do it, having to stay on top of it. It looks good for like a couple of weeks, and then it's grown out and I have to start all over. So I don't know if I will 100% make it through this journey. I've never tried this before, and as of now, I'm really excited about it. I've seen a lot of videos and pictures of women my age in their early to late 40s who have done it, and I'll tell you what, they look so much younger and just refreshed, and it looks softer on their skin. So I'm really excited about it. I do plan on at some point cutting my hair. I would probably bring it up to about here, maybe just below my chin. I don't want to take it any shorter than that, but for now, we're just growing. So that's my little journey that I'm on, and it'll be fun to be able to look back at my videos here on YouTube and see the progress, see how long it took, sort of like a digital diary. Okay, next I'm gonna go in with this shade right here and a Rephr 14 brush, and I'm just gonna start to build up that outer corner. I did get a lot of kick up in the pan with this shade right here. I didn't get so much with this one over here, but I did get some with that one. But anyways, I'm gonna start to build this up. So like I said, I'm excited to see the progress. I'm excited to see the growth. As of right now, as of this point, it's been about 9.5 weeks since I last colored my hair. So I have quite a ways to go. We're not very far at all into it. But if any of you have been screaming at the screen, girl, what are you doing with your hair? You need to get it done. That's what I'm doing. So don't mind it. It's only gonna get worse, and like I said, at some point I absolutely will cut a lot of length off and bring it up to where it's not so bad, and maybe at some point I'll kind of lighten my ends a little bit more, make the transition softer, but for now, this is what we're dealing with. This is really, really pretty. This is a super soft look, very romantic, every day. I'm really liking the way this is working, and it performs like a Natasha Denona palette. Need I say more? All right, so I'm just going back into this shade right here, and I'm just gonna fluff this along my lower lash line where I didn't put that dark shade, and just make sure that everything is blended and nice and seamless. And then we're gonna jump to the shimmers on the lid. All right, so my lid is primed with my NYX glitter primer. Let's go in with some shimmer. So I want to do this shade right here all over my lid, and then I'll probably tap this one maybe on like the inner portion and the outer portion, do kind of like a spotlight effect. So I'm going to pick up that first shade on my finger. I think this one is called Opart. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it's called. So I'm going to pick this one up and I'm going to tap this all over my lid, kind of keeping it in the more central part of my lid though. All right, so we're gonna go in with this shade right here. This one is called Golden Rose, which means this one is actually called Psychedelic, but again, the shade names on the back of these palettes really confuses me. So we're gonna go in with this shade over here, and I'm gonna tap this right over here in the outer portion, and I'm also gonna bring it over into the inner corner as well. And then I'm just gonna take my clean finger and make sure that everything is kind of blended really nicely and we don't have any harsh lines. This is a really pretty soft look. All right, y'all, so there we have our completed eye look, and I think this is beautiful. It's not as bright and punchy and bold as what I'm used to doing on my eyes, but I have a soft spot for a neutral eye look, and this is absolutely beautiful. It did not disappoint. This is such a good little palette from Natasha Denona if you don't already have the shades. But let me show you what I used to finish off this eye look. So for my waterline, I went in with a Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal liner in the shade Cinnamon. I lined my lid with my Lancome Idole Ultra Precise Waterproof Liner. This is in the shade Matte Syrup Brown, and then I went in with my brown YSL Lash Clash mascara. But let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. I'm going to give you my first initial impression thoughts on some of these new products. Let's start with these little guys from Tarte. So the color correctors and the concealer, I think across the board, they have that same formula. Very creamy, very lightweight, nice and hydrating. They don't feel thick. They're not settling into my lines under my eyes. They're not emphasizing anything. At this point, I've had these on for a little over an hour, maybe about an hour and a half, and I haven't had any creasing so far. Obviously, I need to do like an all-day wear test, try them on their own with other powders, without powders, all of that. But first impression, I think this is a really nice formula. The green color concealer, I think did a really good job of taking down the redness of this little monstrosity over here. It didn't cake up or do anything weird, and whenever I started to blend it out, it didn't lose that pigmentation either. The peachy pink one that I used under my eyes for my inner corners, this did a really good job of helping to conceal that darkness that I had, but again, I still think this is just a little too dark for my fair skin. It could be a personal preference thing, but I would prefer something a little bit lighter. But with that being said, I do think once I combined it with the concealer, which is a neutral undertone and I am very cool undertone, I do think it gave me my perfect shade match. So there's that. That's a silver lining of it. And then the same thing for the creaseless creamy concealer. This sits really nice under my eyes. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel cakey. It's not emphasizing texture. I think it's set really nicely. So time will tell how it does with being creaseless, but so far, first impression, I'm really liking these. The Maybelline Sun Kisser Liquid Blush. So I'm kind of on the fence with this one. My feelings are sort of all over the place, but the formula I think is really, really nice. I didn't have any issues with it lifting product, patching, skipping, anything like that. It performed very well both over and under powder products, which is what I really love from a liquid or a cream formula. It needs to do both to be a favorite. My issue lies with the pigmentation. So when I was putting this on, it took a lot of product to build up to what I have here. And this is 2 layers. This is a layer under and over powder, and it's still very much so on the subtle side. It does have a really pretty glow to it, but I'm worried that if you use this on the daily, you're gonna go through this really, really fast, because I can already see some windowing in there and I've used it once. But it leaves me wondering, is that an issue throughout the entire shade range, or is it just the lighter ones? So I definitely want to pick up a shade that's a little bit darker, not super dark, because that's automatically going to be more pigmented. So something a little bit darker, and see if the darker they get, the more pigmented they get, because we saw that with the e.l.f. Camo Liquid Blushes. The lighter ones are, you can go in a little bit heavier handed, but once you get to the darker ones, you have to be super careful. So I need to test this out a little bit more. I'm on the fence, but formula wise, it's really nice. It comes down to pigmentation is what I'm trying to say. The L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Highlighter. This is absolutely gorgeous. This may be a new favorite highlighter from the drugstore. I have loved the Maybelline Master Chrome highlighters for a very long time, but this one is absolutely stunning. I love the way that it's sitting on my skin. I love the shade of it. It kind of melts in. It has a good translucent base and it doesn't fluff everywhere. It's not a super powdery formula, so that's really nice as well. I'm excited about this one. This is a really good one from the drugstore. Let's see, what else do we have? Okay. The brow pencil from NYX. I already told y'all I really enjoy this. This is a good one that if you are into the powder brow but you struggle like I do to actually use a powder and make your brows look sculpted, soft, natural, and not sparse, this is a good option because it's absolutely going to give you that with the ease of a pencil. This is very user-friendly, very easy to use. You can go in light-handed and just do soft little hair-like strokes, or you can go in a little bit heavier-handed and get much more pigmentation and definition out of it. So I'm really enjoying this one. It's affordable from the drugstore. You get a ton of product in here. You have the spoolie on the end. It is sharpenable, so I think this will last you a really long time, and I've really been enjoying it. The Lancome Idole Butter Glow Lip Balm. I really like this. I think it's comfortable on the lips. I think it's hydrating. It's not thick. It's not heavy. It's not sticky. I like that it, you know, twists up instead of clicks up, and it does have a really good shade range. So I think this is a good contender for the rest of the products that we've seen like this, and don't discount this one out. I think it's a really good one. The Natasha Denona Mini Rose Palette. This is beautiful. It's exactly what you think it's gonna be. If you've tried Natasha Denona before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This did not disappoint. It's a very neutral color story. I will give it that. I'm wondering if this is going to allude to a larger rose palette in the future, but I would love to see more color from the brand. Give me a mini yucca palette. Give me the greens, the chartreuses, the golds, maybe one brown in there. That would get me really excited. I'm really hoping that she's not going down the same path as Pat McGrath with more of her neutrals, her rosy tones. I hope not, but you never know. We'll see where the brand leads. But as far as this palette goes, I do think it's very pretty. It is all repeat shades, so like I said, if you already have these shades in your collection, you can 100% skip out on this. But if you're like me and you don't have those palettes with these shades in it, this might be a good one to pick up. I love the versatility of this palette. I think there's a lot more than what you think there's going to be because you can 100% take this palette from day to night. You can do something very soft like what I have on my eyes right now, or you can go in a little bit harder with this shade right here, get something very deep, smoky, and dramatic, and bam, you're ready for nighttime. So I like this palette. I think it's beautiful. I think it's a good release from the brand. I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people, especially the people that she mostly appeals to. I know, like on social media, Instagram, YouTube, all of that, we want the bright, fun, colorful looks, but there's a lot more people out there that are looking for something like this for every single day, and I totally 100% respect that. I love a good neutral eye look. I feel beautiful in this. I love the way it turned out, but I think it's a good palette. Honestly, I think I like her mini palettes more than I like her midi palettes. I feel like she gives us a little bit more with these sometimes. They're a little bit more consistent as far as formula goes, and I'm never disappointed in these. But that's going to be it for this video. I hope y'all did enjoy it. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. Did you pick up any of these products? Are any of them on your wish list? Did you get the new Natasha Denona Mini Rose palette, or do you already have these shades in your collection? I want to know it all. Let's light up that comment section, have that conversation, and as usual, I want to thank you all so much for watching my video and spending your time with me. It truly does mean so much to me. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so that you can be notified of all my future posts here on my channel. I do post quite a few videos every single week, and I wouldn't want you to miss one. But until my next video, have a good one. Bye.